In this video, we are going to review a progressive delivery demo using ArgoCD, Gloo Edge, and Flagger. This repo takes configs from the official documentation in Flagger using the Podinfo application, which we will deploy in this demo. For prerequisites of getting started, we just need a Kubernetes cluster with ArgoCD installed, Gloo Edge, as well as Flagger. For more details on installing ArgoCD, Gloo Edge, or Flagger, you can click the links here in the prerequisites, which will provide you some documentation on how to deploy. Here I already have my ArgoCD application running, Gloo Edge deployed on my cluster. I don't have Flagger deployed yet, so I'll go ahead and take a look at that. So if you click on the Flagger Prometheus, here you can see I have multiple options. So if I want Flagger to deploy with the onboard Prometheus, I can set Prometheus install as true. But in my case, I'm going to actually use the Prometheus that is deployed with the Gloo Edge Enterprise implementation. So I'll set the Prometheus install to false. And then I'll point the metrics server over to the Prometheus server deployed by Gloo Edge. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see once I kick off this Flagger deployment, it will show up in ArgoCD. It installs pretty quickly. So now to get started, all we need to do once we finish the prerequisites here is deploy the Podinfo example. I've gone ahead and created a customized overlay that encapsulates all of the manifests that we need. You can take a look at that up here in the base active folder. This consists of the deployment, the HPA virtual service, load tester services, as well as the metric template and canary. If we take a look at the canary here, we can see that what we'll have the analysis looking at is an interval of 10 seconds with a max weight of 50 and a step weight of 5. This means that our progressive delivery will start at 0% weight and increment in percentages of 5 up till our application has been progressively deployed. So let's go ahead and get started. If we apply this overlay, what we'll see is that in ArgoCD, a Podinfo demo will be deployed, and my Podinfo application will begin. Takes a couple moments to get installed, but once the Podinfo application is deployed, I should be able to access it through my Gloo Edge gateway. So let's go ahead and take a look. And you can see here my Podinfo application is at version 6.0.0. And a couple other things, we'll be handling some kind of halting use cases. We'll see how Flagger handles that and integrates with Prometheus. So if you actually go to the Podinfo example and give it a status endpoint of 404, you'll see that I can start to instantiate some errors and kind of see how Flagger handles that. So with that, let's go ahead and kick off a progressive delivery. In this example, what I've done is, all Flagger needs is a change in the image ID or the image version here, right? So I could do that manually, but since I'm doing this through ArgoCD, what I've done is create a alternative overlay that we can just apply. Let me go ahead and apply that so it can kind of kick off the canary. but then I'll review what that overlay looks like. Once I've kicked that off, all you have to do is watch the Flagger logs, and you can see that a new revision has been detected, and we are scaling up a new canary of the 6.0.1 version. If I take a look at the overlay here, it's pretty simple. All I'm doing is doing a patch using the 6.0.1 version of Podinfo, nothing more. If I take a look at ArgoCD now, what you'll see is that the new Podinfo application has been deployed using version 6.0.1. And if you're taking a look here at the logs of Flagger, we can see that our waits and our progressive delivery has started. And let's see what happens here if we instantiate some errors. Since this is watching Prometheus, we'll start to see if, let's say, I instantiate a couple 404 errors. These will take a little bit to populate into Prometheus, but once it actually goes over the threshold that I set in my canary CRD, what you'll see here is a halt in the progressive delivery because I am exceeding my threshold of 1%. Once this goes below the threshold of 1% errors, what we'll actually start to see is that this progressive delivery will continue forward. If you're keeping an eye here on the Podinfo application, you'll start to see that my application will be flopping between 6.0.0 version and 6.0.1 as it's doing this canary analysis. Once we reach the 50% threshold here, our application will be progressed over to 6.0.1 at 100%. And then what you will see is that the 6.0.0 version here will be removed from the cluster. So now we have seen a successful progressive delivery of my Podinfo application. You can see that Flagger is now routing all traffic to primary, which is now the 6.0.1 version, and is scaling down the initial 6.0.0 version. So my progressive delivery has been completed. For more kind of playing around here, I did also provide a second overlay for 6.0.2 so that you could actually kick it off again and watch the logs and progress and promote to 6.0.2. Thanks everyone.